Hi Cancers, how are you? Welcome to your September Life and Love Tarot reading. Let's go ahead and get started. Cancers. I've been pre-shuffling the cards. Thanks for all your likes and your shares and your subscribes. I really appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So Spirit and Universe, what are the messages for Cancers during this Virgo season in September? Messages for Cancers. What are the messages for Cancers? Okay. I'm using the Fountain Tarot. And the significator is Four of Swords reversed. Cancers, this is a beautiful card for you to be the significator card because the Four of Swords upright really has to do with being able or understanding within yourself that you have to rest. It's like a self time out. I have to rest. I have to sort my thoughts. I have to calm my, organize my chakras, balance my chakras. But upright, so that's upright, but reversed as your significator card, this is really saying that you are going to have energy and you should be using it for whatever it is, that you're doing, putting energy into your relationship, putting energy into family, work. Now let's look at this. There's a couple things here that are a little concerning. So I like that first of all, what these are, we have Temperance, Seven of Swords, and Five of Wands. Five of Wands is reversed. It's nice that this is reversed because it's as if you're approaching things with a positive viewpoint, a positive mindset. So you're not really fighting something within yourself. You're not ruminating. You're really just saying, hey, I have energy to figure this out. I want to put some effort into this. So let's go. And the reason why I said figure this out is because we have the Seven of Swords here. So historically, yes, Seven of Swords is an indication of somebody that has a little overconfidence with something. So possibly, low energy. We're talking low vibration on this card is lying, cheating, stealing, right? Somebody that's getting away with something, but they're getting caught. And yes, they get caught because they can't carry all seven steel swords. They drop two and they're found out. So when we're talking about overconfidence, when we're talking about getting found out, if this is somebody that's in your realm, and yes, this could have to do with an air sign, they could be the ones that are just go, and not really focusing on this wonderful energy that is Virgo season, which is focusing on the details. The devil is in the details. And if someone isn't resting and they're just going and they're not being careful, they're going to be caught. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good thing that they're not focusing. I'm not saying it's a good thing that they're going to get caught. You, however, though, Cancers, don't seem to be worried about it too much. It's almost like you say to yourself, well, okay, if you're going to try to do this and not get found out, I'm going to find you out. So I'm just going to not worry about it until that moment comes. You're really even-keeled about this with the Temperance card here. If you're dealing with someone that you're suspect is doing something, you're not going to try to play detective, right? You're not going to be Columbo. You're just going to let it ride out, let it play out, and then it's going to reveal itself anyway. So you're not worried. I like this. And that was heavily a description of if the Four of Swords and the Seven of Swords were combined into an external energy other than you. If this is you, okay, having all this energy, not needing to rest your mind, I still like this because this isn't indicating that you are being overconfident. This is indicating that you just have energy and you're being positive and you're not worrying or ruminating. You're just going about your day, doing the things that you love to do, spending time with your friends and family, and it's very balancing for you. There is something in the midst, though, so we will pull a clarifier on this. But let's pull a few more cards first before we do the clarifier. Let's pull another row, see if we can get a little bit more information. Spirit and universe, what are the messages for Cancers? Additional messages for Cancers this September with respect to this reading. Life and love. Messages for Cancers. Messages for Cancers. Okay. Nine of Swords. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Six of Swords reversed as the significator. Lots of swords. Okay. Can you see these? This is something you're not needing to get away from. Again, I think you aren't worried about the situation. It's going to figure itself out. You're not going to be putting in a lot of worry and thought into something, and you definitely don't feel like you have to excuse yourself from the person or from the moment. You know, you're ready to be in it. Okay, that's why this is reversed. You're going to stay. You're not going to separate yourself and go and rest and heal. You're just going to stay, and what will be, will be. Now look, we have a lot of major arcana cards here. The Magician, the Moon, Temperance. An interesting combination of major arcana cards too, because look, we have the Nine of Swords. Swords, 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 swords. So very quickly, even if you have moments of finding something out, because yes, with the Moon here, this is telling you that you are going to be getting illumination on the subject. They're going to be found out. You're going to be found out. Whoever it is that is misbehaving and trying to get away with something, they're definitely going to be found out. So I love that energy, definitely. Secondly, you're not worried. If you do slip into moments of worry, or where you feel like you could let your thoughts run away with your emotions, Cancers, you're going to very quickly realize how much control and power you have over yourself and over the scenario. Oh, you know, how the conversation goes, how you're reacting and how you're responding to whatever this is. And again, we will pull clarifiers. This is very much you taking your power back, despite feeling like this at times. Before you would let yourself, it's very easy for you too, because you're a water sign and you can feel so deeply, and you know this, I don't need to talk about it, but it's very easy to let yourself sit here. But not this month. And I like this Virgo season energy for you, because you're very quickly going to see the other side and say, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter who did what or who said what or who's not doing something, you're very quickly going to say, okay, what can I do about it? How can I respond? What's the best approach for me and my mindset and my keeping myself emotionally balanced while this plays out, while this comes to fruition, while this becomes enlightened in my life, right? If you're cheating, okay, now what? I'm going to be the one to decide. Do I stay? Do I go? How do I react? How do I respond? How do we discuss this? If you're leaving a job, right, to the other person, your partner. If you're looking for love, if you're just completely single, Cancers, you're not too worried about it. Yes, you have your moments. We all do. But part of this realization in this Magician card, and part of this understanding that sometimes you can stay and make things work, is very, very, very healing, and it makes you feel empowered, not overconfident, empowered. But I'm very strongly sensing that this has to do with someone else. Your reaction here has to do with someone else, not you. And then certainly with the Moon, this has to do with something becoming illuminated. And clearly we can see something's becoming illuminated. But however, you're not worrying about it. Let's pull a couple clarifiers quickly before we go on to the next row. Spirit and Universe, please clarify the Seven of Swords and the Moon. Please clarify the Seven of Swords and the Moon for Cancers. Please clarify the Seven of Swords and the Moon. 2 more shuffles off the top of the deck. Okay. 6 of Pentacles and 7 of Pentacles. Okay. Whether this is a love relationship or you're single or work related, whatever this is, this has to do, this thing that's going to come out, right? This thing you're going to find out about whomever or whatever. Part of this realization is you had faith, 6 of Coins upright, 7 of Pentacles reversed, okay? This is kind of the tipping point. Tipping point for you to keep the faith in the broader spectrum and losing the faith on the micro level. Losing the faith in the person. Losing your faith in the expectation of the outcome. This is very much what's going to come out and come into your understanding on a very deep level, on a visceral level, is you thought they would play their part. You thought it would play out in a certain way, a balanced way, that there would be equal giving, equal receiving. You thought that. But people tend to tell on themselves, right? You can hope and expect and converse yourself into a way of thinking that, well, I told them this and I said this and so then they should that. No, that's not how people operate. Wouldn't the world be lovely if that were? So here, what's coming into your understanding is you thought it would be more fair and you're realizing it isn't, and then you're deciding to let it go for now. You're letting it go. This isn't meaning that you're breaking up. This isn't meaning that you're leaving a marriage. This isn't meaning that you're quitting your job. You're just letting go of the feeling of deep responsibility for them and their actions. You can still play your part, but without the expectation. Wow, okay. 4th row, Cancers. I'm going to move these up. Give me one moment. Gotta get these organized. So what we have here on this row, this 3rd row, we have the Queen of Swords, more swords. We have the Hanged Man, Pisces, water energy, you. We have the Fool, directly connected to 2 other major arcana cards, and we have the King of Swords. So what does this tell us? First of all, this tells us about thinking through things first. It's best to think before we act. It's the only way to be balanced. Okay. Someone commented, "Stop moving the cards. It's distracting. You're always messing with the cards." I don't know. I'm very particular. It helps me think, I think, to move my hands. And I have Gemini in my 3rd and 4th house. And so it helps me think to be doing things, right? Because Geminis are ruled by, they rule their hands. It rules the hands. And so, 2 sides. So it helps me to do this. It helps me speak and it helps me talk and think. But anyway, regardless. So with all these swords, regardless of whether it's a person or a thing or speaking to you internally, it's very heavily focusing on strategy and thought. And also disconnecting emotion from the strategy. Not running away with your emotions. We all do it. But then we regain our power. You regain your power this month. Oh, you know what I was going to do? 9 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is a card of freedom. This is a card of independence. And I like talking about freedom because a lot of people don't talk about freedom. That's why there's a bird in every 9 of Pentacles. Almost every single tarot deck I've ever seen, there's always a bird because it has to do with freedom. Where you're in a place in your life where you have enough money, enough household, enough clothes, enough confidence. It's about having enough and being okay being you. And I think there's some pretty big players this month for you, Cancers, in that you are letting people do them, and then based on their actions, without any tying to you of expectations, you're not tied, you're letting go of expectations. You're letting them do them, good or bad, whether you agree or disagree. You're just letting them do them, and then you're detaching yourself from any responsibility for the outcome that they are producing. Again, you're still doing your part. It's not that you're, letting the whole relationship lie on what they do. But over time, you're realizing they may or may not be doing what you need. Not that it's bad, but what you need. And then you're formulating a strategy with respect to their actions. Okay? And you're waiting, Hanged Man. You're waiting to see, you're watching if you're going to start a new phase with them, if you're not, if you're stepping out on your own. You're waiting for what's next. Let's pull a clarifier on this King of Swords. Because the fact that the outcome of all of this, after this realization and letting go of the responsibility for them, is huge for you, Cancers. This is a tipping point in and this is huge for you, Cancers, because you want everybody to be happy and comfortable. And you want to give and give and give and give. And when you're realizing that they aren't, it's not a problem, but you're taking on the accountability yourself and saying, okay, so this is who they are. Do I jive with that? Is that what I want? Right? I don't know if I want to be in a relationship where somebody does this. You're not saying that they're being bad or that they're to blame, and you're not saying you're the victim of their actions. You're just saying, is that the type of personality I want to be with? I'm not trying to change them, not trying to fix it. This is you holding on to your autonomy. Actually not holding on to, finding your autonomy and standing tall with it. Please clarify the King of Swords for Cancers. And when you figure this out and you finally put those boundaries up, and there's a book I'm reading right now, it's actually called Boundaries. And there's a little bit of a Christian slant. There are references to the Bible. But the base concepts of all the chapters is about how to have boundaries in certain situations in life. And how it keeps you having your control over yourself and allows other people to maneuver around that. And how much respect and love. Okay, that popped out. Okay, Queen of Pentacles is formed on the other side when you have your own boundaries. The respect when you have your own boundaries is something that cannot be taken away, and it's almost it's like scientifically proven that when you have boundaries and you know how to convey them without being emotional or childish, it changes everything. So I love so much with this Queen of Coins clarifying the King of Swords for you, because this talks about, this is sharing that you can, the warmth doesn't have to go away. The generosity doesn't have to go away. You can still give, and you can still work on and communicate with. This isn't you just being like spitefully walking away from anything. But ultimately the choice comes down to you whether you stay or go. It doesn't mean that you have to stop being generous. That's what you love. But there can be strategy in how you do that and why you do that. And even if it's strategy within yourself. Okay, let's pull some outcome cards. I love this reading. The Fool, the Magician, Temperance. This is a huge tipping point for you, Cancers, this month. And I am really excited because I think you're going to start seeing how your actions really impact the actions of others. And it has to do with your own personal boundaries. 2 more outcome cards for Cancers this September. Off the top of the deck, 2 more shuffles. The Hermit reversed, 7 of Wands, 8 of Coins, 8 of Pentacles. Again, you don't have to do all the work. You can still be available with the Hermit reversed. You don't have to go anywhere, but it doesn't mean that you have to do all the work either. High level example, very, very, very high level example. Kind of a dumb example, but a very applicable one. It's college football season. It's football season, right? So you come home from work and it's Sunday and the TV's been on all day, and you just want to really sit down, and you maybe you like to think, oh, I should make a bunch of nachos, right? I should make a bunch of nachos. They might be wanting to eat and be hungry because they've been watching football all day. But you say, but I would prefer if they make some nachos, or I don't want to make it for them because I already ate dinner, something like that, right? So you say, but I would like to relax and watch the game with them. So you sit down and you don't feel guilty for not offering to make them food. You don't feel guilty for not offering to or clean up the mess of the food that they've been eating all day. You don't feel guilty. You just sit down, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I'm hungry. You want some nachos? And you're like, yeah, that'd be great. I would love some nachos. And then they get up and make them because they want some. You see how that shift is? Now you have nachos and they made them. When there's no hard feelings, there's no unmet expectations. Or let's say hey, I'm hungry. You want some nachos? And you're like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And then they say, I don't really feel like making them though. And you're like, okay, that's fine. I'll get something later. And because normally you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll make them for you. It's okay, no problem. You relax. But you've been out working all day. So then you kind of happily, but also begrudgingly make the nachos. And in reality, you're like, these would be great, but I didn't really plan on coming home and making them. You see what I'm saying? You see that shift? He wants some nachos? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, I'll make some for us, right? And all of a sudden you have nachos and you still get to relax. Shift, 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 shift. Boundaries, 7 of Wands, barriers, boundaries. Being available, being open, not being the one that does all the work. Perfect. Perfect, Cancers. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. I will see you next month. Okay. Oh, and I'm trying to do my weekly pick a cards. I'm such a slacker with that, but I really want to start doing a Sunday night pick a card. So stay tuned. That should be coming up also. Watch that. Love you. Bye, Cancers.